It's rare that a figure pops up for a character that I don't really know much about, yet completely grabs my attention enough for me to purchase. This is the case for Iori from the Idolmaster series. First, let's start off by looking at the packaging. The box design as a whole is very similar to other boxes from different lines and companies. We have a large window in the front that showcases the figure. We also see the name of the series as well as the character's name prominently displayed on the front. The box itself is pretty plain with a white background and a few floating pink hearts. And of course we have some nice shots of the figure on the sides and the back. But what makes this box stand out to me is that the floating heart pattern continues on the window. This is not a design characteristic that we see a lot when it comes to figure boxes, and it just makes the design feel more complete as it spans across the whole box. Overall, it's not one of my favorite figure boxes, but it gets the job done. As I mentioned, I haven't seen or played the Idolmaster series, but what made this figure so irresistible to me was, well, the whole package. It's really hard for me to pinpoint just one feature that made her stand out, but it was probably her pose that first grabbed my attention. We see many figures just standing, or even standing in a dynamic pose. It's not so common to see a figure sitting, and there are even fewer that kind of give off a floating / falling pose that we get with Iori. But it's more than just a cool pose that made me buy a figure I know so little about. Iori personifies such a sweet and adorable Lolita girl in this figure, a feature that I find irresistible. The flow of her sweet Lolita dress, accompanied by her flowing curly locks, not only adds charm to the character, but also helps solidify her falling status. Her winking, bashful expression just ties into her innocent and charming appeal, altogether making this one adorable figure. But what I think brought this figure over from nice to a must-have for me was her little rabbit plush, mixed in with her Lolita stature, and graceful descent that reminded me of one of my favorite childhood stories, Alice in Wonderland. Overall, the look and feel of this figure gives me the sense of a magical childhood where anything could happen. Couple that with cuteness, and it's a figure worthy of my shelves. But sadly, this figure is not all wonder and charm. It does have some flaws. The most noticeable was some sloppy paint on her stocking. Where a blurred line can throw off some of the more intricate details, my figure came with a thin patch and some runoff that is quite noticeable. While it's a disappointment to see such a large paint imperfection, I'm sure not all of them have this issue. I've received other figures from that company and didn't have such a large paint blemish on any other one. It's the chance you take with mass-produced figures, so if you really love this figure or the character, I wouldn't let that stop you. Another issue I had, also probably caused by mass production, is that the hole in the back where the stand fits in was a bit too small. I wasn't able to get the peg all the way in and even cracked the tip of the stand trying to get it in. Despite my struggles, I was able to fit the stand in snugly enough that she won't fall out. While we're down here though, we might as well look at her base as a whole. It's not one of the most impressive bases, and if you follow our videos often, you might have picked up on the fact that I'm a sucker for a good base. But just because it's not amazing doesn't necessarily make it a bad base. It's very pink and girly, which matches the theme of the figure quite nicely. It also displays the name of the series quite prominently. The clear arm helps give off the illusion that she is floating as well, but it's still noticeable. Overall, a pretty average base. In the end, Fat Company's Iori is very fun with her swirling locks and coy expression. Yet, mine at least falls a bit short of excellent with the problems of mass production. But even with all the flaws, she's still an enjoyable piece, and I'm certain that once I get the chance to watch the series, I will enjoy her even more. If this character is one that you love, or like me, you just enjoy how adorable and unique she looks, then I would take my chances with picking this one up. As I mentioned, I'm sure not all of them will come out with the flaws mine has, but also be aware that it might. Once again, thanks for stopping by, and please be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe for more reviews, hauls, and other fun videos. Until next time.
Why is there plastic on this? Alright, so as you can see on the back, these are the different choices you can get. I bought 3 of them because I'm really hoping to get Toothless. And it looks like I have a pretty good shot at it, as it looks like there's 4 because the surprise one also looks to be Toothless.